What's up, fam? Elijah Shadler here, and welcome back to another episode of EXTOL WE. And this week, Anna, Aaron, Kamisa, and Michael are my extras, and I am the ordinary. Now, the videos that went live 2 weeks ago, again, is God's impeccable timing linked to another video in the past called Intention Informs Intensity. It was so beautiful to see that when the videos went live on May 17th, my pastor David was preaching and I was typing notes into my phone, and God revealed a new truth to me, a little bit modified, but that I typed down destiny informs intensity. That I showed my wife, I said, look at this, honey. Man, I just love it when I'm able to glean additional fruits from God's word, from the grace on my pastor David's life. That he just speaks these truths that hit my heart and then they just explode into a bumper crop of fruit in my life. She nodded and said, that's awesome. And I remembered, oh shoot, I forgot to mark my next videos live for the next week. Went to then my YouTube channel, popped up the next video that was gonna go live in queue for that Sunday, for the following Sunday. And wouldn't you know that the video that was going live is Intention Informs Intensity. I had not seen that. My commitment with the Lord is not pull up the videos until they're in queue, getting ready to go live, but that the Lord then had spoke this truth to me, that destiny informs intensity. And it was in the exact same time when a video was going live the following week called Intention Informs Intensity. The main point of that video was that intention informs intensity, that God has told us that we're to go to Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and utter ends of the earth. And so since our final destination is utter ends of the earth, that the intention of that finish line, it informs the intensity that we're to go after the gospel in our Jerusalem, moving outward. As I pressed into those videos, then praying into God's impeccable timing and intention informs intensity, that the other revelation then from God that came that said destination informs intention, destiny informs intensity. So intention is doing things on purpose with a purpose, and that intensity is intentional force. It's force that is on purpose with a purpose. And therefore, our destination informs our intentional movements, doing things on purpose with a purpose, but that then our destiny, our good works tied to identity, informs our intensity. Not everyone is as intense as I am, and there's lots of people that I know who are more intense, that in this destiny that God has placed in my heart, that I wake up with on a morning by morning basis, thinking about everyone in the earth and how to do good to all of them through Jesus, that obviously it informs the forcefulness with which I go after life, that the intensity in my process of Extraordinary Life with Elijah has been a lot greater than many people that I know who are going about their lives in a more steady, quiet way. Destiny, my good works tied to my identity, is informing my intensity in how I'm going after the gospel here in Jerusalem, moving out into Judea, Samaria, and the utter ends of the earth. Now, as I listened to that likewise, that towards the very end of the video, that I said that it's God's intimate and infinite ways. It's been beautiful since that time period that God's added one more word to that lineup, that it's his intimate, infinite, and intricate ways that is revealed in the individual plans that he has for each individual. That each individual has an individual plan from God in their destiny in moving forward and how they are to participate within the overall expression of the whole body, preaching the whole gospel to the whole world. Again, as I went back through this, I was overwhelmed in the goodness of God and the testimonies of what he's done in my life through the intensity of my motions forward, of living on purpose with a purpose, that God revealed that my very first supplemental book, my very first journal that I started in that series was on May 31st, 2005, which is 14 days short of 21 years exactly from the time that I began my first supplemental journal with God in pursuing his heart, this intentional and intense motion of consistently moving forward with the consistent actions of faith over time led to being on the spot 14 days, 14, it's a very wonderful number in my process, short of exactly 21 days. Out of that there was then this truth that I put into the description of the video when it went live, that our breathless awe of and suddenly moments is God's satisfied sigh of and finally. When God works in a moment on May 17th of revealing his impeccable timing in the things that he's been doing for eons time past, that it's his sigh of satisfaction of reaching the fullness of his heart's desires in and finally, but that it leaves us in breathless awe of and suddenly God acted. It was not an and suddenly. That it's so beautiful to see then how my scribbling over years and years and years and pages, tens of thousands of pages of journaling met in this fulfillment on May 17th, 2026. Unraveling all of the movements of God and telling of his glories is so beautiful. But they began to be initiated on Sunday, March 29th, which was Palm Sunday, 2026, when a lady in our church named Camisa came and she had a word for me from the Lord. That as she gave me the word, oh, these are just fun Elijah things. I threw on a voice recording to capture it, and it's voice recording number 151, a balanced number, and that it's exactly 3 minutes, 43 seconds long, 343. Those are just fun touch points of my Father revealing his intimate ways to me. In her word to me that on that Sunday morning, Palm Sunday, that she had heard from the Lord about the key of David and doors being opened and closed, which no man can shut and no man can open, but that she saw my key that I wear on my necklace, and that she came and said, I have a word of the Lord for you, and spoke to me that I had been given a key of David, and that there's an anointing on my life to open a way for people, to give them breakthrough into what God has for them. That I open doors for other people, but that God was granting me access for me and my family to use those keys in regards to our personal family destiny, to open up those doors and to provide provision. That God is destined and assigned a great number of angels to me, and that I was to step into partnership with God and the angelic and seeing his purposes brought about in my life and my family's life. He said in that passage of Revelation 3 that says, you have a little strength left, but that you have been faithful, that you will persevere until the end, and you will be faithful, you will persevere. And it was so beautiful then for her to say, like, does that have any resonance to you? Friends, obviously, as I've shared in these videos, that I'm becoming very tired in my journey, that this has been such a long journey, and that I have very little energy left, but that God is opening the way. In that word for me then, I said, yes, that does resonate, and you will have more fulfillment into what that word means come May 17th. She wrote it down, and that was so beautiful to see that then my friend Aaron, whose ordination service was on November 11th, 2022, and that he had a prophetic word for me, that as I was in the secret place, in the dark, moving forward, that God was building energy in me to value my time, my secret space with the Lord, to keep persevering. That definitely resonated with me, Aaron. Yeah, I was making all these videos and just living in the dark, doing things in secret, moving forward to a place where I would be birthed into the light of God's manifest revelation glory in my life. Aaron had a word over me at his ordination service, but what he didn't know in that moment is that God had released a word to me for him and his wife, Anna, at that service, and that I recorded it for them to be released on Sunday, May 17th. It was so beautiful then going into May 17 and having stewarded that word for them in their life for a 3.5 year period, that getting to hand that over to them as inheritance and impartation to them, it brought such a lightness in my life that there was a burden in carrying that word for them for 3.5 years. And it was so beautiful to see how, as I handed that to them and then walked into service, that there was such a lightness that came to my life as having taken that resource out of my life for them and handing it off to them. Friends, it was so beautiful. I bounced into service. I was hugging people, giving prophetic words and ministration, encouragement, and just was just so light in having taken that resource out of the money bag of my life and depositing it into theirs. And it was so awesome in considering this word then from Camisa and combining it with elements that were in this word for Aaron and Anna, that one specific element, that there was a door that had a keyhole in it that was in the shape of a plus sign, that there was vertical line, horizontal line that looked like a plus sign, but that God said to take a key, place it into the lock vertically. It wouldn't fit with me horizontally. Put it in vertically and to turn it to the left to unlock the door. And that then God had resources that he imparted into Aaron and Anna's life from heaven through that open door, that I was then to shut the door and to lock it and to place that key into my right pocket. Friends, it was so beautiful then to consider that in that aspect of the plus sign, that it's prophesying to the more of heaven. As I unlocked that and opened the door, more resources came into their life, but that my orientation was to be vertical between myself and God, not horizontal, but vertical. And that what the things that God is doing in Extraordinary Life with Elijah, with our night of worship on Sunday, February 14th, 2027 at the Brick Breeden Fieldhouse here in Bozeman, Montana. In that context, that my involvement is to resource the people of God in a vertical relationship with the Father, but that the horizontal expression of it being unlocked is not coming through me. I won't have any participation with the movements on the main stage or its development, but that I'm just resourcing it from heavenly resources from my Father in a vertical expression, but that horizontal, that's not for me to put into. But I am helping partner with the intersection of God's people to bring the more into the earth. Further movements of the Father, just so glorious, is that my halfway video for Extraordinary Life with Elijah went live on May 18th, 2025, telling of the testimony of what my father did on Remembrance Day, November 11th, 2021, 11/11. On my grandfather's land, it's 11 acres that he paid $11,000 for. It just ridiculously silly, but that halfway point video went live on May 18th, 2025 on a Sunday when my friend Aaron was preaching on that Sunday morning. In that message was speaking about the purpose of the fivefold and how specifically apostles and prophets pioneer the way forward for God's people in things that they walk alone in for years, to pave the way for God's people to follow along behind them. That very often that their journey is one that is very lonely, that they're alone and that it involves much sacrifice, but that through the sacrifice and investment of their lives, pioneering forward, that it paves the way for people to follow along behind them as settlers of what the Lord has imparted to his people as inheritance. On that day that he preached that sermon, on May 18th, 2025, the very next day, I was on assignment from the Father to go and climb Ore Mountain for the very first time. I was to go up and to mark the geo-coordinate of the top of the O to see its connection between the O, the cross that is in the face of a cliff, and the M in the mountain on the other side of the valley. On that day, May 19th, 2025, that I connected the M in the mountain on one side of the valley to the Ore on the other side and carved more into a tree on the top of the mountain, marking the O on Monday, May 19th, 2025, which is my father-in-law's birthday. It's so cool then to see that there's this prophetic word from my friend, Aaron and Anna, that is, there's a plus sign marking the more of heaven, that I have authority to unlock, to bring into the earth from heavenly places, that vertical relationship is my role, that the horizontal, that's not up to me, but that it was in this prophetic word of more for my friends Aaron and Anna, and that on the day that my halfway video went live, on May 18th, that my friend Aaron was preaching, declaring how apostles and prophets go ahead of God's people in a pioneering context by themselves sacrificially to establish an inheritance in the land for the people to follow after them to settle. So incredibly ridiculous. But that then on May 17th, that then God had that impartation of word to come to Aaron and Anna in a time of his impeccable timing, in a context of intentionality informs intensity. Beyond all of those silly things, as if that is not enough. Oh my goodness, that on December 31st of this last year, that God, in vision with him as I was praying, direct me to go to an antique store to buy a key to give to my senior leader, Michael, at the beginning of our fast. The Lord said, this is very critical. This is critical timing. Reach out to your friend and get him this key on December 31st. Friends, I bought the key and I purchased a key for myself as well. The Lord then likewise led me to weave onto the back side of the key that I got from Michael, a plumb line that I had likewise, that was an antique plumb, to be a plumb line of the Lord, to hold up to the structures of the temple to see if the walls were plumb. But that I gave him the key, and on the very end of the key are the numbers 2-2 are welded into the key to fit into that keyhole in a door, and that the Father then spoke in that to say that that was indicating Isaiah 22:22, which is all about the key of David, opening doors that no man can open, and that God would open those doors that then no man can shut. It was so beautiful then that as I took my key and moved forward into that next year, into 2026 here, that God had me to weave a lanyard on it and to put it in my right pocket. And I carried that in my right pocket all throughout the fast, as it would so turn out. And leadership's word that they had picked for our fast and for the whole year of 2026 is the word unlock. Friends, it's just ridiculous. Our Father is causing all of his goodness to pass back and forth in front of us, revealing his glory that is declaring his identity to us in a new and intimate way so that we can know who he is in a more intimate, infinite, and intricate way. Friends, it's just mind-blowing that clear back in 2022 that God would lead this prophetic declaration over my friends who are releasing grace into our faith family to move forward into the things that God has for us, and that in the year then that the word was to be released to them, that it's a word of unlock, and that it would be in a context of the more, in a context of community, where he'd given me a key to place in my right pocket, that God would guide all of those things together is, again, absolutely mind-blowing. One final element in this silliness of God's glory passing before us in impeccable timing is that back when I posted the video for my friends and released the video, impeccable timing, and set it to private, that God called me to make a population prediction of what the population would be at 10:50 a.m. MST on Sunday, May 17th, 2026. That the number that I put down that was my prediction was 8,283,198,945. As I was on my way to service with my family, I threw out my phone, started doing a screen capture at 9:50 a.m. And exactly at 9:50 a.m., the population was 8,293,507,446, which is a difference of 10,308,491. The next day, on Monday, May 18th, as I was pondering all these things with the Lord, I was like, God, that's pretty close. 10 million off is not all that far when we're talking about 8.2 billion people. I said, Lord, what is the significance of this 10,308,491? I began to press into it, and I found out that it's a prime number. As I then started praying about, God, what does this mean? What is the prime number? That he said, Elijah, it's the prime time for my people to press into my impeccable timing in pushing forward the destination and the destiny, the intentionality and the intensity of my plans in the earth. He then had me search out what the closest prime number is below that number that he gave me that's in the middle, and the prime number that is above that difference. Friends, the difference between the lower prime number and the higher prime number, with the difference of my prediction and the actual that's in the middle, is a total difference of 18. Friends, it's the absolute silliness of my Father to reveal himself to his people in these ways, that my commitment has been to arise and to shine, to allow my good works to be seen before all mankind, that his glory might raise upon me, that you could see the glory of my good works and glorify my Father in heaven. Our breathless awe of and suddenly moments are the and finally sigh of satisfaction of our Father's impeccable timing. So my encouragement to you is, my friends, that wherever you find yourself in the good works that God has given you to do in your destiny, that we are God's workmanship created in Christ Jesus to do good works that he prepared in advance for us to do. Good works tied to identity equals destiny. That, friends, that you would go to him to work out your calling and election before him, that you would see what are the talents that he's placed in your life. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 10? Is it 10,000? Is it 10 billion? Is it one person across the street, or is it the entire population of the world? Ask him, what is the finish line of your race of faith that you are to be running with perseverance? That as he sets out that finish line in your race, that it has a specific grace and a specific pace that you are to run before him with. As you find out what is your finish line that you are running to on purpose, with a purpose, that your destination will be achieved through your destiny as you run in the intensity that God has given for your life. My friends, my encouragement to you is that you would not shrink back in doing good. For as we do not grow weary in doing good, we will reap a harvest of righteousness as we do not give up. So if you subscribe to what we are doing, then hit the button, hit it, and then get it. Hit the bell as well so you get notified with the new content. I'm a content creator. And if you love this video, you didn't just like it, hit that thumbs down button. Pray blessings on all of our lives together. I love you guys lots, and I'll see you in the next video.